Well, good morning. It is a beautiful spring day here outside of Toronto, and we are in something very special. This is the BMW M4 CS, and it's got my name written all over it. Literally, right here on the console, on the tail panel, on the nose, all over this car, the CS badges. And BMW will tell you that it stands for competition sport, but truly, the BMW Clayton seems, and that's why I had to drive this. I'm very lucky to drive it because they're only making 1,700 of these cars. No matter how much you scream and yell, that's it. It's a limited production. Of those 1,700, 75 are coming to Canada, and about 300 to 400 of those will make their way to the United States. The point is, if you see one of these, you're pretty lucky because they're pretty rare. But enough chatty. Let's fire this thing up and talk about what it's like to drive. All right, let's fire it up. Starts out in noisy mode. And the modes are like, I think, the defining characteristic of this car. You press the M mode button. We have road, sport, and track to choose from, the kind of pre-selected menu. But we also have the M1 and M2 buttons, and these live on the steering wheel. Basically because if I hit the setup button, you can see I can configure my engine, chassis, steering, brake, the four-wheel drive system, which can also be configured to two-wheel drive, and the traction control. It's all very configurable. And that's what these M cars are all about. So I have my M1 set for sporty driving. I've just pressed it. I like my engine in sport, my chassis in sport, the steering in sport, but the brakes in comfort, and the all-wheel drive system in its most all-wheel drivey, because we're on public roads and I want to slide off. Should be fun. So, it got kind of a weird shifter down here. We're going to slot it into drive on the right and hit the road. Forgive the shades, it's bright out. All right, the BMW M4 CS. BMW makes a lot of M4s. I'm going to give you a quick once-over on them. The base M4 is manual transmission only, rear drive only, makes 480 horsepower. From there, you step up to the M4 Competition. That's all-wheel drive and a lot more power. It makes 520 horsepower abouts. Now I have the BMW M4 CS. All-wheel drive, more power than the Competition, and some lightweight parts. There used to be the M4 CSL. It's now discontinued. But in 2022 or 2023, that was basically the high-performance engine with the rear drive chassis and an even more intense lightweighting program. But those are collector's items now. Now it's time to drive this. So I'm knocking it down a gear in manual mode, and we're going to attack some corners here, which is what it's built to do. Letting the all-wheel drive system pull the front end around. It's got a pretty aggressive tire package on it. In fact, it has track tires optional, which this car is equipped with, and they are pretty serious. You can hear them flinging rocks around. It's got a lot of power. I've set it back down into drive. Now, what do you get when you buy the M4 CS? Well, the M4 Comp isn't exactly cheap. That car is just about $100,000. This is $150,000 exactly. So you're paying 50 grand Canadian extra for the CS. What do you get that the M4 Comp doesn't have? Well, first of all, you get 20 more horsepower. And there's actually no hardware upgrade between the Comp and this. It's just more boost. They just turn up the boost on the same turbos and you get 20 more horsepower. Here's what that power sounds like. That is 543 horsepower at your disposal. It's quick. All M4s use a 3-liter twin turbocharged straight 6, just in various degrees of potency. M4 CSs only come with an automatic. In this case, it's an 8-speed. Now the CS also comes with some chassis upgrades. The adaptive dampers have CS-specific tuning, I would assume to make it stiffer. You also get a unique front brace up front that ties in the shock towers to the radiator core support. That's unique. You also get firmer engine mounts up front, so you actually notice the vibration of this engine at idle. And it's because it has these more serious engine mounts. But what you really get is a lot of exterior and interior carbon fiber, the lightweighting, as it were. So the big ticket item is the hood. You get a carbon fiber hood. And the other big ticket item you get is launch control, which we will test. So we're going to select the aggro setting on the transmission. We're going to take DSC off, which is required for launch control. Launch building. Active. Away we go. It is actually, the CSL makes more power, the discontinued CSL, and it's a lot lighter by like 300 pounds. But because this is all-wheel drive and because it has the biggest, most powerful engine they sell, this is actually the fastest M4 to 60, 3.4 seconds. And you activate that potential with launch control. Now, launch control is actually pretty easy to use in this car, but there is a bit of a procedure to engage it. But once you've selected it, it works really well, and it is a pretty fun party trick. The power is pretty good. We're talking 0 to 60 in the deep threes, 3.4 I believe for this car with the launch control on ideal surfaces. It definitely moves out. Now, to my mind, the C and CS may stand for carbon because there's so much of it in this car. You also get a carbon fiber roof. Those are a lot of big carbon pieces on this car. And then there's a lot of secondary smaller ones, like the mirror caps are carbon, front splitter, rear diffuser, a little rear spoiler on top of the trunk, carbon fiber applique on the shift paddles, on the console, on the dashboard. You get the M carbon buckets. These crazy seats have a carbon back. So there's a lot of carbon fiber, which might make you think, wow, BMW cares a lot about weight savings. I mean, they did go through the trouble of fitting a titanium rear exhaust silencer, which saves about 8 pounds off the back of the car. But this message is confusing to me because, like, for example, the seats have a carbon fiber back. That saves weight. That's an expensive bit of carbon. So they put this expensive carbon on the seats. You might think, well, obviously it's a lightweight seat. However, it's like 16-way power adjustable with memory function, and it's heated. Okay, that's kind of weird. They have a lightweight titanium silencer, but it has valves with electronic servos, so kind of eating up your weight savings there. Basically, everywhere I look, there's something that's supposed to be saving weight right next to something I know that adds weight. And the result of that is that this car is not CS leaked, it is actually CS heavy. Weighs around 3,900 pounds. And while it does weigh 77 pounds less than the competition on which it's based, it is 79 pounds more than the base M4 with rear wheel drive, and it's 320 pounds more than the CSL. So the lightweight focus is kind of for show. And the result is when you drive it, it drives big. It feels big. I can feel there's a lot of mass in this car. And while it's got the power to move out, it's contending with a lot of weight. And when you have a lot of weight and you're trying to make it change direction, you need really big tires. 275 section up front, 285 out back, which delivers a lot of good mechanical grip. However, because of the aggressive alignment on this car and because the tires are so wide, it tram lines all over the place. This thing finds any little groove in the road and the tires are following it. And because we have 540 horsepower, partly going through the front wheels, the steering isn't very communicative because it needs to fight all that torque. It has power steering, so there's no torque steer, but that means there's less coming through my hands in a sporty environment. And while, yes, I can turn off the drive to the front axles, I can't delete the weight and I can't delete the moving components. And the steering feel for me isn't any better in two-wheel drive mode, and it's not super practical. I mean, why would I be carrying all those differentials and drive shafts to not use them? I don't really understand that. one of the things I was expecting and comparing this to in my mind was like a Porsche GT or RS product. When you hop in, for example, a Cayman GT RS, that car has all the lightweight stuff, the carbon hood, the carbon this, the carbon that. However, the seats in it are going to be manual because it's trying to actually save weight. There's a focus there. And why I'm going on and on about weight is that a lot of the things they've detracted from this car have made it less good on the street. The cardinal offender here are the seats. These are the M carbon buckets, and they are optional on the regular M4s. You could spec them. I wouldn't recommend it. They are rock hard. They are strangely shaped. They have all these cutouts in them that make you think, wow, this is like a lightweight seat, but they have all these motors in them too. I don't think they're very light. And Porsche offers a one-piece carbon bucket for their hardcore stuff. And while it is also constricting and firm and not super comfortable, it's actually light. You know, you're getting something for your discomfort. Whereas in the M4 CS, I feel like I'm uncomfortable in these crazy seats. I'm bouncing over the road with this crazy stiff suspension, but I'm still in a car that weighs within 46 pounds of a V8 Mustang. I'm like, why do I have to be so uncomfortable to do this? And I also kind of get that there's a point to be said about the flair, the experience of it. You know, you strap into this thing with this M-stripe seatbelt and this crazy carbon seat and the Alcantara wheel and the carbon paddles, and you think, wow, we are in a machine right now. But I wouldn't describe it as a pure experience. Like I said, we have all these modes to go through, all these different settings. It has a drift analyzer. And I'm just not sure if this car is trying to be a numbers car, an acceleration car like a Nissan GT-R, if it's trying to be a lap time car like a GT RS Porsche, or if it's trying to be like a daily driven sporty car like a GT3 or something. I'm not sure which lane BMW is trying to pick with this car. And then I figured it out, guys. It's not meant for either. This car is purpose-built to dominate at Cars and Coffee. This is a flex machine like no other. I don't particularly invite the attention. However, I had people coming onto my driveway to get a better look at this car. I actually have a photo of some guy stopping traffic on my street to get a photo of this car as he drove by. People asked me what I do for a living. They were so interested in this car. And I really thought this was going to be a niche of a niche car. It's a special edition of a fast version of a BMW. However, people know about this car and people really are excited to see it. And this car costs $150,000, which is a lot of money. However, $150,000 doesn't even buy you the most basic Porsche 911 that you can buy. And while a 911 is much lighter and also very nice to drive, it's not going to have anywhere near the cred that this car has. This is a special edition car that people are excited to see, and it turns heads like crazy for $150,000. And I think that is what this car is built to do. I finally figured out, why does it have a carbon hood? So you can show people it's got a carbon hood. Why does it have these crazy uncomfortable seats? It's so when you open the door, you look inside this car, you think, wow, this is a machine. It is built to flex. Maybe they didn't intend to do it, but flexing is what this car does best. It really, really attracts a lot of attention. And not only because it's a crazy looking M4 product, but also because it's in this awesome frozen Isle of Man green. There are two paint colors that are exclusive to the M4 CS, and this is one of them. The other is a metallic blue. But this is a $5,000 option, and boy does it work. You have to be really careful with these paints. You can't put a regular wax on them. You can actually kind of ruin them by driving them through a normal car wash. They require some extra care, but I feel like if you're buying this car, you kind of know what you're getting. You want something special. It looks great in every single light. It's been raining and sunny and cloudy in every mix this week in Ontario, and it looks incredible at all lights. And I gotta say, the car as a whole, the visual things they've done, the frameless lightweight grille, the yellow headlamps that illuminate at night, the gold wheels, the carbon all over this car, I gotta admit, this thing looks killer. I love the look of this car. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a BMW product, but In this extreme version, wow, it all comes together and it drives great. And I gotta say, these carbon ceramic brakes, gonna use them for a second, are some of the best behaved carbon brakes I've ever had on the street. Look at that, baby. These carbon ceramic brakes, which are a $10,000 option, which, by the way, I think carbon ceramic should be standard. On the special edition, you're charging $50,000 for. But anyways, they are the best behaved carbon brakes I've ever used on the street. They haven't squeaked once. The pedal engagement is super, super good on the street. And like all carbon ceramics, they have just limitless potential. You could never hit the heat potential of these things on the street. A great, great option if you are actually going to spec one of these cars out. Now, the problem is, if I press the M mode button, and let's go into road, which is basically comfort, it tells me right now that the suspension is in comfort. That is a lie. I am not comfortable. Even in the chill setting, this suspension is rock hard. And not just from bumps up and down, but side to side. If you hit a pothole at low speed with one corner of the car, the side to side motion is brutal. This car is so locked down, which again, it needs to be because of the weight. That said, this car is kind of agonizing to daily drive as I have been commuting in it. You have so much tire noise, it's so loud. To be fair, the exhaust noise is not the loudest part of the car on the road, it's the tire noise. And with the suspension being rock hard, these seats, for all their adjustability, have no adjustable lumbar. I have no back support in these seats. And climbing in and out of them over these big side bolsters, it's kind of tough. And while it's very exciting, honestly, I will be kind of relieved to give it back at the end of the week with this car. But I think it's built for more than your normal commute. And though I didn't have a chance to drive it on a track this week, I'm just gonna go on a limb and assume it would be an absolute party, especially if you can disengage the front axle, use the drift mode, slide this thing around. It would be pretty darn fun. So I'm not dunking on this car, but I don't like. We have Harman Kardon premium sound, which with a lot of speakers in it. We also have all this carbon trim, and I couldn't even hear the speakers on the highway because of the road noise. I wish that this car had more focus. I feel like it's so close. I wish they would go for something purely lightweight. For example, there's a carbon fiber spoiler out back to save weight. It's a power trunk. I mean, I wish this car had like a rear seat delete, make the seats manual, maybe a one-piece bucket. I wish they would commit to the bit, because we kind of already have a daily drivable M4. It's called the M4. They're nice cars. You can drive them all the time. This is a limited edition car, and with what it costs and with how eager people are to see this thing, there's so much excitement for this car. I wish they had gone a little further. But that is everything I have to say on the BMW M4 CS. And if you'd like to read my written review, that will be on our website at Driving.ca. I do actually read every single comment. I love you guys commenting on these videos. If you have a recommendation for which car you'd like to see me test next, leave it in the comments. I will reply to that comment, and I will do my best to make it happen. And my recommendation, if you are one of the lucky 1,700 people that get the chance to buy one of these BMWs, get it in the frozen green. You won't regret it. It's the best 5K you'll spend. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams, and I am going to go back to driving.